Real quick, I want to do a fair use. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. We want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners, whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, you Achwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This is your brother Aram Yahawada with the lesson. And as you can see, the Cv-19 is back in the news. And I mentioned this when I was in camp because I noticed I started seeing a couple of articles, but I'm going to go ahead and do a lesson. Lord's willing, to the edification of the saints on such said articles. And yeah, so this is Cv-19 is spiking again, right? Especially in these states, right? This was a day ago, it says. And it says the U.S. is seeing a late summer surge in the Cv-19 cases, tracking from the Center for Disease Control and Center for Disease Control and Prevention shows says the spike is particularly pronounced in one region of the country, which includes Arkansas, Louisiana, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Texas, where about 15% of CV tests reported to the CDC are turned up positive, right? But you got to remember they had a bunch of false positives too, where it was saying it's positive, but the person was not contagious. The thing would say that they were positive, but the thing was absolutely not true. So how many of these are false positives? So how much of your 15% is not really 15%, right? Because they're a bunch of false positives, right? But particularly the entire Western country isn't far behind. A dozen more states west of the Mississippi reported test positives rates above 10% last week. So that's what I'm saying. So even in this 10%, if you have false positives, how many of this 10% is not really part of your 10%? So you're just giving a thing, half cocked, so to speak, right? Right. So this is the so-called regions. I don't know if I can zoom in. Well, this is a so-called thing. Wish I can zoom in. Maybe I'll try to do it later. Try to zoom in, go back to it, and try to get it so I can zoom in on it. Says in reality, the number of cases across the country. No, so the reality is there are such thing as false positives. That's the reality. Is really underreported. No, it could be that it's overreported too, right? As more people opt to test for the V with at-home kits over lab tests, right? So it could be that the books are cooked either which way, right? Could be more of it's over-reported. Because if you have a bunch of false positives, you're over-reported, right? You know, it says these. What was that? Slovakia. Oh, testing. Where was that? Okay. Yes, sewage, testing sewage and wastewater. Oh, bro. Hey, man. You know, howbeit gross can give us a better idea of how many people are sick with the Cv-19 in a certain area. Hey, man, you can't make me believe all the things, and there's things that you could spend money on, especially this type of money, right? Or any kind of money. You could say it's not that cost effective to do this and that. Well, you can't either way go any amount of money of you going to the sewage. Why didn't you do that before? You know, did you know AIDS was an epidemic at one point in time? There was all sorts of things. I mean, you're supposed to be so-called trying to figure out how to cure cancer, which you haven't did. You know, why can't you? So you can't make me think you could just micro I don't know. I had to just say micro observe or thing with all the other diseases and all the other things that's out there that they already tell you that's in the water and all these different things. So you're gonna micro circumvent and put everything down to you can know exactly, oh, this is the C, and this area must have a high case of the Cv-19 through the sewer and all this other stuff that you could spend that money on. The kids ain't got schools, they don't got food, right? The roads have potholes, right? The teachers are underpaid. There's a lot of things. The soldiers that you grossly misuse and toss them to the side of the road, and now here they are, a homeless veteran. There's a lot of things you could be spending that money on besides trying to go through the sewer and make me believe somehow out of all the different nasty and disease, you could just pinpoint this down to the Cv-19. I don't believe it, right? At all, right? I don't think you could do that, right? I mean, because if you could do that, why did you do that with all the other things, right? Americans are grossly unhealthy, right? You know what I'm saying? You could do some things that's way more, what you call them, so these are America's most conservative colleges, says in new reports. See, and your colleges are failing, bro. Right? I'm supposed to believe these things, and you put any college in the world against American colleges, and you fail miserably. But I'm supposed to go, oh yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? The kid that was up all night smoking weed or doing some type of drugs or whatever the freak they be doing at college these days, popping Molly or whatever, and then he goes to class, right? I mean, the days of so-called Doogie Howser and all that, those are done. You're not pushing geniuses to the forefront, right? The little young dude, the young people who graduated early, you're not putting them in. You're not making them superstars. You're not making education, like if you go to China, education is the height of everything. Those are the stars. Those are the superstars, not the NBA, the NFL, the movie stars. So, you know, some intern that stayed up all night or college student stayed up late all night partying and then stumbles into his fucking dorm room or wherever, his laboratory, and then do some tests and then say, oh yeah, this means this. I mean, yeah, I'm not buying it, right? Wastewater, it says wastewater monitoring can detect viruses spreading from one person. Oh yeah, it can really do that to another within a community. Oh yeah, see, I don't. Come on now, bro. Do you know how many people are starving? So you want me to believe they're taking, hey, forget it. If you're saying it's just colleges, what about the kids who deserve to go to school, who has very great grades but can't afford to go to college? You could spend that money on putting those kids in college instead of you going through the sewer system to come up with some, out of all the bazillion diseases and things that's in there, and you could just pinpoint this one thing and go, oh yeah, definitely. I know that Cv-19 is right here, and it has to be spreading from person to person. It has to be. This is it, guys. Hello, alert the news. we have it. We have the. You know what I'm saying? If you, oh man, it's crazy. Person to person within the community, early than clinic testing. Right, of course. Which, if it's in a sewer, you don't know what person it came from. Right? I know this came from this toilet over. Can you pinpoint the toilet it came from too? Yeah, it came from this particular toilet. I know it. Shit. You know what I'm saying? And before people who are sick go to the doctor or hospital, it can also detect infections without symptoms. Oh, you got to do that. What is it called? The asymptomatic people. So now it could test. So your regular couldn't detect, but with all the disease and the gunk and the nastiness and the filth and the even bacteria builds in the sewage, and allergy and all sorts of stuff grows in it. I mean, there's all sorts of different insects and bugs and all sorts of things come about, mold and all sorts of different things come about. But you could detect the Cv-19 after all the different, because they tell you about the different drugs and the different stuff, all the different stuff that get flushed through the toilet. But somehow they cannot clean it out of your water. They can only do, oh my God, without symptoms, the CDC explains, right? Hey, okay, well, yeah, so this is AI overview. It is impossible. Let's say it again. It is impossible to provide an exact number of drugs and diseases. Wait, let's say that one more time. It is impossible to provide the exact number of drugs and disease in water or sewage because the specific count varies consistently by location and time. However, dozens of tests have identified hundreds of different pharmaceuticals, right, which are drugs, and numerous of disease causing pathogens in the water system worldwide, right? But you have never did nothing about it. You have never. Oh yeah, but we know that such and such. So you need to eat more of this or drink more of that to combat, so we can make sure that everybody's well, right? You never gave a freak about everybody being healthy or anything like that before. Right? It says drugs in water and sewage. Drugs enter the water supply through human excretions, right? Excretions, flushing unused medications down the toilet, and discharge from manufacturing plants. Oh shit, yeah. Manufacturing plants. Most wastewater treatment plants are not designed to remove the micro pollutants Right. So it's a lot of micropollutants, which then pass into rivers, lakes, and drinking water sources. Wow. So if that's everybody got the CV-19. Case closed. You don't got it. Everybody has it. No more tests need to be done. I've solved it, and I didn't have to go to college. I just had to go to AI overview. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Well, yeah, disease in the water and sewage disease. That's what I'm saying. Disease. So sewage is well-known source of pathogens, including bacteria, viruses, and what is that? Parasites. It's like, yeah, I'll be tripping. And parasites that cause disease. These pathogens can contaminate drinking water supply if water treatment systems fail, or because overwhelmed as overwhelmed can overwhelm as can happen during flooding. Okay. Disease known to be transmitted by contaminated water or sewage. Oh, these are diseases that's known. Well, some type of diarrhea, right? And somehow the CV-19 is not there. Hepatitis A. So these are all the diseases that you can get through the sewer system. Let me see if I can. I can't read all that, so I'm just gonna try to get it to.
Diarrhea.
My bad. I stopped it.
Diarrhea, cholera, typhoid fever, salmonellosis, Legionnaire's disease, leptospirosis, parasitic infections, giardiasis, cryptosporidiosis, amoebiasis, schistosomiasis from parasitic worms, viral infections, hepatitis A, polio.
Right. And see how it gave virus infections. So but there's a lot of virus infections. So where would you get this from? So how would you know? And then if you can get that, why ain't there other viruses infections? So you could just pinpoint just the CV-19. Oh yeah, we know it's because it's from this area. Yeah, so this CV-19 cases and hospitalizations rise in the U.S., right? The CV-19 cases are on the rise in the United States as children return to school and the colder months approach. Right, of course they got it. Yeah. For the week ending August 9th, the hospitalization rate for CV-19, just like they could test in the sewage after all these different viruses, all that shit is down there. But they didn't pull one of the other viruses out, and they could determine one virus from the other, right? Ah, man. As 1.7 persons out of 1,000 people, which is double the rate from 2 months prior, according to the Center of Disease and Control and Prevention, right? Which you're not preventing a freaking thing, bro, right? The CDC additionally for the week ending in August 23rd, 11.2%. Oh my God, it's way up there now. Right? Okay. All right. Meanwhile, they're advertising you McDonald's that makes you sick. Right. That makes all the sense in the world. Not nothing healthy, not nothing educational. You know, these people, bro. And the CV test returned positive. Oh yeah, oh yeah. But what about the false positives? And significant increase from 3.3% 2 months earlier. Despite these increase, uh, current metrics remain significantly lower than previous years. It says hospitalization, right, which still makes wait, it's lower, but the hospitalization rates are approximately 3 times lower than at the same time last year. Hey, bro, you people give me a headache. That's crazy. So the whole point is saying how it's rising, but last year you didn't put a freaking thing out saying, "Oh my God, the rate is high," and there's a lot more hospitalization, but it's lower. But it's a reason to put out an article, and it's a reason to say something, though it's lower than last year. At the same time last year. And the percentage of positive tests is about half of what it was during the same period last year. Over the past 2 months, around 200 Americans have been dying from the Cv-19 each week. The CDC data indicates. Yeah, so it's an confusion has arisen regarding the Cv-19 vaccination following the Food and Drug Administration, right? Which is not good. That doesn't make sense. I don't need nobody to be handling food and drugs all at the same time. That don't make sense, right? We know what you're about, because you're in because it shows you that you're in cahoots with the CDC, right? You know, approval of updating vaccination versions for individuals over 65 and younger persons at high risk for several diseases. Federal Health Office have stated that anyone who wishes to receive the vax can do so. The CDC reported that testing positive rate has surpassed. Okay. It says 10% in more areas of the southwestern and western U.S. has students return to class. All right, this is what they want you to believe. Okay, the Dr. Peter Chin Hung, right, Wu Hung, the Chin Hung, and infections, right? An infections disease specialist. Okay, that's what I was trying to. At University of California, right? Here we go. Man, which really, that's where the There was no Wuhan, China. It was a Wuhan, America, right? Allegedly, right? At one of these so-called prestigious universities, right? So San Francisco commented, when the dust settles, I expect it to not be as bad as last year, but that still means that some people are getting sick. Fewer people are getting Wait a minute. It just said it was raising the hospitalization. Fewer people are getting hospitalized proportionately speaking, but some people are still being hospitalized. He noted that the increase in cases is due to several factors, including the time elapsed since many people last contracted the Cv-19, the emergency of new vic, variant. It's like, yeah. I'll be tripping up on these words sometimes. Variant as the weeks in August 30th, the XFG variant, an offshoot of the Omicron or something like that variant. Yeah, they just making up shit, bro. It says is demonstrate in the U.S. accounting for estimated 78% of new CV1 cases and other of Omicron, whatever offshoot, the NB181, the LP81. Oh man. Represents 14% to 3% of new cases, respectively. Oh man, yeah. So this was only 3 hours ago. This happened just says up. Trump demands drug makers justify their success, which really means failure, with the Cv-19. Right? This is Washington. President Trump called for drug companies justify their success in combating the Cv-19. Demanding the immediate release of data on the matter, while the CDC is being ripped apart over this questions. Right? So, but if it's a success, why would it be ripped apart? Says Trump remarks in September 1st posted on Truth Social following his firing last week of the CDC director Susan Monors, just 1 month into her tenure, after a disagreement she had on the vaccine policy. Right. So yeah, you have to fire her because Whatever whatever you're about to do, she didn't agree with it. So you gotta get rid of her. You gotta put a yes man. You gotta find somebody who's gonna roll with the program, right? In with the Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., along with a long time was it how do you say it? Skeptic, right? Which he's rolling with the program, because if that chick said, man, there's something wrong, something off, and you being a skeptic, you should have looked into that, and there's most likely something ain't right with this, right? But they want to throw that in there. Oh yeah, he's a longtime skeptic and so on and so forth. I don't want to go into too much, but so many people think they are a miracle that saved millions of lives. People think that the Cv-19 saved many lives, and others disagree. Trump said of the Cv-19 drug, including the vaccine made by Pfizer, Moderna, and other drug companies, with the CDC being ripped apart over these questions, and what I want the answers, and I want them now, right? So this is all smoke and mirrors, all this other BS, because at the end of the day, going to this one, yeah, the White House fired her after clashing with R.F. Kennedy Jr. See, but something about that whole little thing she didn't agree with, right? Meanwhile, what's his name? See, former CDC director said R.F. Kennedy Jr. actions should alarm every American. So she can't come out and say something's not right. But she's telling you, hey, you ought to be alarmed. The ninth former director who served under both Democratic and Republican presidents, wrote a public needs to know rally to protect the health, of every American. Hey, so yeah, you better read into that, right? So something ain't right. Yeah. So this is Job chapter 13 verse 4. But ye are forgers, right? Forgers means what? Doctor. You doctor it, right? To doctor something is to forge it, right? To make it believable, right? So you go into all these so-called doctors and these different universities and all these different things of these so-called experts, but really they're forgers. They're just doctors. They're because now when you look up the word doctor, it's hard to come up with what it originally was meant to be about, because it really meant for you to forge it. Because I remember when I was younger and my mom's friend got caught doing something with checks, and they would say she doctored it up, right, for the checks. I remember that. So it's basically she forged it, right? Yeah, so I just went to AI mode. It says and just ask the question, if you doctor a check, what does that mean? It says to doctor a check means to fraudulently alter or tamper with a check. This is a form of check fraud and is a serious crime that carries several penalties, including fines and jail time. right? And that's ultimately what doctor means, is to be fraudulently, right? So I asked AI mode to give me more of like a root, and into the word doctor, to the root word doctor. It says the relative to fraudulent sense, related to the fraudulent sense of the word, does not mean fraud itself, but comes from the figurative extension of the legitimate meaning of the word, which would be fraud. I don't understand why I try to go around. The etymology follows the path from teach to fix to what? Deceive. And that's these people, man. And that's what they're doing. They're fixing it up to deceive, right? Yeah, so the evolution of doctor, Latin root. The word doctor came from the Latin verb docere, which means to teach, to cause to know. The title was originally given to scholars and religious teachers, right? Which makes sense, right? Because even in the scriptures, they basically talked about them being doctors of the law, right? It means to know, students, because the word scholar goes into just being a student, right? Right. It says, and then to treat medically. By the 18th century, the verb to doctor was widely used to mean to administrate medical treatment. To the usage is a natural extension of a doctor role as a teacher. See, and they don't teach you nothing, right? Right? When it comes to these doctors, they're not teaching you, oh yeah, go home, do these, and teach you how to keep yourself healthy, right? Just take 2 of these and call me in the morning. And that's if you wake up. Or when you'll have another symptom, right? And not actually teaching you how to become better, or experts who fix and mend patients. Yeah, right? That ain't what's happening. So basically, to be a doctor, you're a forger. You're right. It's a forge. But ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no value. Right? See, because a true physician actually heals, actually nourishes, and then it's a teach. A true physician will heal you, but teach you how to stay healthy. Will teach you how to take care of your family, your children, how to keep your wife or your husband healthy, right? Teach you these things, that ye would altogether hold your peace, and it should be your wisdom, right? And see, but the whole thing about Esau is he's completely against the Most High, right? He can't hold his peace, right? Hear now my reasoning, and hearken to the pleading of my lips, right? Will ye speak wickedly for the power? And that's exactly what Esau's doing. He's saying, hey, look, trust the science, right? And talk deceitfully for him. Yeah, he's saying, look, we have the so-called answers, and just do these things. Believe us. We have our people from the University of California, the University of this, the University of this. We have the CDC. We have this CDC director who got fired, so we could put in someone else because that person didn't agree with what was about to get pushed, right? But trust in us, right? Because they speak, will ye speak wickedly for the power, right? And of course they do. Yeah, so I'm in the blue letter, which is 1 Timothy 6:20, right? I'm going to read from the Amplified version first, the AMP version of the Bible. It says, O Timothy, guard and keep safe the deposit of godly truth entrusted to you. Turn away from worldly and godless chatter with its profane, empty words and contradictions of what is falsely called knowledge, right? That's this place right here. That's all you ever do, right? It says, "O Timothy," in the KJV, "keep that which is committed to you, thy trust. Avoid profane and vain babbling and oppositions of science," right? Because that's what they would tell you, to trust the science, trust their science, of science falsely so called, right? Meaning to know. Well, we're the teachers, we're the doctors, we're the teachers, right? We know, right? But we know that everything you do and the way you're doing it, it's always what? Contradictions. It's always false. It's always misleading. Even in your thing, it's saying it's success, but then there's a reason that they're under hot water. At the same time, you're calling it a success. You need answers about a success. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up, right? Let's see if I can go on this.
Strong's G 1108. Gnosis.
Gnosis. See? It says gnosis, knowledge signifying in general intelligence, understanding. See? I have the understanding. It's a novel virus that no one understands. But guess what? It has 9 months, and I have I have the Maxine Icky Vicky for you, but we have no knowledge of this. See the contradictions? Doesn't make sense, right? Then even in the thing, it's lower than it was last year, but there's a high number of hospitalizations. Come on, you're not making a lot of sense. There's a lot of contradictions when you speak. It doesn't make sense. But general knowledge, yeah, it's what you're supposed to be of the Israelites, and it's not a religion; it's our nationality. But the deeper, more perfect, and enlarged knowledge of this religion, such as belonging to the most advanced. Right? Yeah. Right.
Strong's G 1097. Gnosko.
To learn, to know, come to know, get a knowledge of, perceive, feel. Right? To become known, to know. Sexual intercourse between a man and a woman, right? Whoa, right? Because science will tell you something different, right? They'll tell you there's 4 different sexes, right? to be
acquainted,
acquainted. Yeah, to be acquainted with to know, right? Right. So that's ultimately, you know, and that's what you guys are. You're bringing in your science, falsely so called. You tell us all these different things. You act like you're acquainted and you know God. Oh no, this is no. I know God. You act like you know what I'm saying, and that's why your science is falsely so called science. You know, you act like you know God, and you act like you are God. You know, and that's why you will ye speak wickedly for the power for God. Yeah, you will do that, right? Because you saying basically saying you are God, right? Put this in you, put this charagma in you, right? This micro C hip in you, and I'll be able to know prior to you being sick, and we can prevent you from being sick, right? Showing you that you are God, right? And talk deceitfully for him. And that's what that is, right? Your so-called, all this medical, oh yeah, I can go down into the sewer and I can test this thing and I can put it down to this one specific thing and go, oh yeah, I got the Cv-19. This whole area is contaminated. They're all sick. It says, and it is good. Oh wait, come on. What was that? Oh, okay, so it's like I almost skipped it. It says, will ye attempt his person? Right, exactly. And that's exactly what you're doing. Will ye attempt his person? Will you attempt to be God? And that's exactly what you're doing. You're attempting to be the power. Will ye contend for the power? Oh, exactly. And that's exactly what you're doing, right? Yeah, it says contend. The word contend comes from the Latin word contendere, meaning to stretch out. It is composed of the prefix come together with and tendere, to stretch. The word's meaning has evolved to encompass several related instance of strive, stretching, and exhorting effort, right? It says to strive. So the meaning of contend, to strive in a competition or conflict. This is the most direct application of stretching together, right? Okay, that's what it means. Stretching together. The root is, it means to compete with for something, or to fight against an opponent. And that's ultimately, yeah, that's what you're doing. And will you fight against the Most High? And that's ultimately what you're doing. You're fighting against the Most High. You're saying, trust your science. Basically, I am the Most High. and in doing that, you're fighting against the Most High, right? You're contending to be the Most High. You're fighting to be the Most High. So you could take, because like one of those things is to take over, right? Right. When you look at that word, it means to take over, right? So basically, you're saying you're going to take over the spot of the Most High. And is it good that He should search you out, right? And yeah, it's very good that the Most High should search you out. It's very good that the Most High should search you out. Or as one man mocketh another, do ye so mock him? And yeah, and that's ultimately what you're doing. You're acting like you're on the level of the Most High, and you can mock the Most High and say you have your science, you have this, you have that, and basically you're God. And you're saying what's the say so over God's people, right? It's a mandatory vaccination, right? when it's opposite of what the Lord says for his people to do, right? Especially of that sort, right? This is Obadiah chapter 1. I'm going to start at 1. It says, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Adonai power, the Most High Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash, concerning Edom, right? Which goes back to your father Esau, which you're descendants of Esau, which Edom, all you self-proclaimed so-called white people, right? Starting with the elite, the international bankers, right? All the people that Trump got in his cabinet, right, with them now. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh, right? All caps, Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai. And an ambassador is sent among the heathen, right? And that's us. We're the ambassadors as men of the Lord, right? Scattered upon the four corners of the earth. The main portion being here in Babylon the Great, because this is the place of the great tribulation and great redemption. Should be here, right? Among the heathen, right? And some of our people are called heathen, right? Right? There's, that's what the mystery of the word heathen, because there's Gar in the car, right? And Gar meaning an Israelite that's known as a heathen or stranger, right? Or Nakar, which is an actual stranger or heathen, right? It says, arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Because why? That's what you're doing. That's the whole thing, is the strife, the striving in the world, or the stretching out, or the contending, right? That's the stretching out of the world, yeah. Because it's what contend, to stretch out, to contend, to fight. That's what's happening, right? It says, behold, which means feast your eyes, look, pay attention. It says, I have made thee small amongst the heathen, right? Amongst all these nations, you're small. And in that place of Israel is very, very small. So that's a very telltale sign, and that's what the Lord is doing, showing you that you're the one who's the main heathen, ruling over all these other heathens, right? Thou art greatly despised. And right now, between the thing that you're doing in Gaza, the constant boasting of Trump, hey, it's really getting on everybody's nerves, right? It says the pride, right? See, and it shows you who you are. The pride of thy heart, La'ab, your mind, have deceived thee. See, and you're greatly deceived. Thou that dwelleth in the cliffs of the rocks, right? Going back to you were in Mount Seir first, but then when you came out and you finally conquered, being under the Greeks, under Alexander, and you conquered for a while, and Rome Greece kind of fizzled out a little bit, but then you came back pretty strong during the time of the Romans and conquered pretty much the known world at that time, right? But then you fell. The Western Roman Empire fell. You got pushed into the Caucasus Mountains, right, which is the cliffs of the rocks, right? And then, of course, your 1,000 years, you came back out, you deceived the whole world. Once again, you are in the cliffs of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? So once you came back out, you started ruling again. You're like, man, I ain't never going down this time, right? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, I said, once the Lord's been accelerating time, right? Because in 1960 something, you went into outer space, right? And you exalted yourself as the eagle, and thou set thy nest amongst the stars, right? You went in there, said you, one man, one step for mankind, one giant step for, I don't know, wherever it go. One giant step for mankind, which really was supposed to be just for you, right? Because you're the only one who's mankind, which really you're not. You can't be, because you're not even human. But That's how you like to push it, because you was amongst the stars, and really ultimately the stars are the Israelites too. You have the Israelites in subjection. Thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh. And really, you're on that downward tread now, right? You were up doing your thing. If thieves come to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut down? Man, hey bro, you stole the whole world. You done rape, rob, and murder the whole world, but somehow you're coming down. You're getting cut off. You have everything, and still about to lose. Would they not have stolen till they had enough? And see, in you, it's never enough. It tells you that in Habakkuk. It says your desire is as the grave, man. You could never have enough, right? And if grape gatherers come to thee, would they have not left some grapes? Yeah, most people would leave something for the people, but you want the people to be absolutely with no health, right? Homeless, no health, no how do you say it? Healthy. You don't want them to be healthy or wealthy. Let's just say it that way. You don't want the people to be healthy or wealthy. You want everyone to depend on you. You don't want them to have anything. When you have left something, right? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? See? And that's where you're at now. Right? Yeah, so this is Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 9. If grape gatherers come to thee, would they not have leave some gleaning grapes? If thieves by night, they will destroy till they had enough. Right? They would have left something, which going into this thing being the precept to this, right? It says, but I have made Esau bare, see, being searched out, making you being prevalent, being seen, right? I have uncovered his secret places, right? Knowing that you were really from Mount Seir, knowing you were from the Caucasus Mountains, knowing that you were the Greeks going into Alexander, knowing that even your scholars would say that the Roman Empire were Edomites, right? Was Edom, right? We know these things, right? Knowing about you having the Treaty of Rome, being the NATO, the EU, the America, right? So it's just plain. It's plain and simple that you are the Edomites, right? It's just simple, at this point, right? It says, and he shall not be able to hide himself. See, and now you're unable to hide yourself, because I believe it speaks about that until that man of sin be revealed. And now we're at that time where the man of sin is being revealed, has been revealed, and his seed is spoiled, right? Which you guys are not having babies. You're not reproducing, so you're being spoiled. And that's what this whole pseudoscience, or the science falsely so-called, is really about. This is what this Cv-19, and why you're saying there's so many so-called hospitalizations under Cv-19 all over again, because you're about to get ready to lock down the world all over again under the Cv-19. So we know that that's going to happen again. And his brethren and his brethren's and his neighbor, and he is not. So you're not going to exist anymore, right? It says, leave thy fatherless children, and I will preserve them alive, and let thy widows trust in me. So you're going to, basically, the Lord is going to deliver the elect of the nation of Israel, right? It's dealing with the elect, because only the elect of the nation of Israel is going to trust in him, right? Because we're not going to fall for, if Satan should get an advantage over them, we are not ignorant of his devices, right? When that's what that is. We're not ignorant of Satan's devices, right? It's just it also talks about how if it were possible that they would deceive the very elect, but it's not possible to deceive the elect and what you're doing. For thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken, and thou and art thou he that should altogether, right? You strive to stretch, you want to fight, go unpunished, right? You want to stretch, you want to fight together, you want to strive, you want to contend with the Most High, and should you go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. Yeah, so all your deeds are all searched out, man. We know you're the Edomites, right? You know, we know you're the one who pollutes the air, make GMO foods. You're the one who contend against the Most High. You're the one who wants to be the Most High, right? You're the one who went into outer space, right? Right? You're the one who's the most proud, right? Out of all the nations, you're the most proud, right? And he says he will surely reprove you. See, and that's ultimately what's going to happen. All your things are going to be searched out, and at the end of the day, once that man of sin is revealed, hey, it's time for you to get reproved, right? The Lord is going to deliver his elect, and you will drink of that cup, and you will be reproved. And if ye do secretly accept his person, shall not his excellency make you afraid? So if you know that there's a power, which you do, but somehow you're not afraid of the Most High, right? You're ready to make war with the Most High. You're contending with the Most High. Should you not be afraid? You should. And his dread fall upon you, right? Should you not be afraid? Should not the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, dread fall upon you, right? Right? Yeah, might as well do it that way, because that's what's going to happen. Because the ICBM missiles says the sword of the Lord shall be bathed in heaven, which is talking about the ICBM missiles, and basically your remembrance are like the ashes. So when these hypersonic ICBM missiles hit America, other strategic parts of the world, right? The elect get beamed up, right? Let your your widows trust in me, right? The elect get beamed up. The fire and burning, the destruction, the judgment is going forth. The elect comes back down, put everything in subjection, grab you out of your bunkers, put you in chains, right into slavery. Your whole memory and everything that you was and who you thought you was, it's going to come to an end. What the scripture says, you're not a god but a man, right? Your memory, I might have to get that since I said it. It says your remembrance are like unto the ashes, right? When them hypersonic ICBM missiles hit this place, America, Babylon the Great, and your bodies to bodies of clay. Ooh, right? You're gonna be back to the elements, stuck to this place, right? Done for. Yeah, so this is Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 9. Wilt thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, which you're going to say that before the Most High? The Most High is going to slay you, man, right? I am God, right? Are you going to say that you're God in the day that the Lord set up your the time for you to meet your maker, which is the Most High, right? The Lord puts the ordinance out of who's the slayer and who does the slaying. And your turn is to come. You will drink of that cup. You will go into slavery. You will have a downfall. All your things will be uncovered and seen, and the man of sin shall be revealed, or the son of perdition shall be revealed, right? Right? You're revealed. But thou shalt be a man and no power. You're not the God. You're not God. You're gonna be shown that you're not God in the hand of him that slayeth thee. See? So when the Lord raise up whatever man he raise up to come and slay you, you're gonna realize that you're not God, right? The most high exalt this kingdoms and he bring them down, right? It's all in the Most High's power. So with all that, I'm gonna give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, to the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, you Achwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and the Baba Ball and Kwam Yasharallah.